Hello, my name is Lindy Cowling and welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. Today's short video that I've been very much inspired and passionate to come onto camera to speak about is called In the Name of the Rose, the Diana energy. For anybody watching this video that is not familiar with my work, that has never seen any of the work that I've done before, as part of my background as a channeler and as a medium clairvoyant, as part of my background, and as someone that very much comes from the heart and embodies a heart vibration, when I come in front of the camera, I do not monitor or analyze or articulate what is coming out on camera. So it doesn't come from my mind, it's governed by my heart. So often, and because it's a form of channeling, often I'm as surprised as anybody else as what I'm going to talk about. But this is something that is very dear to my heart, and if on camera sometimes I look away like I am now, that's because my information and my feeling comes in. That's one of the ways it comes in. Often I look away like I am now because that's how I receive being able to tap into my guidance, being able to tap into the knowing. So that's what's going on there. So if I seem like I'm looking all over the place, that's what's going on. So in the name of the rose, the Diana energy, what do you think of when I say that? Well, I'm going to start talking about the embodiment of divine love that was expressed through the wonderful, wonderful being of Princess Diana. And immediately I knew this would be a powerful one for me, a humdinger of a one for me, because already, and I'm smiling as I say it, because as you will see that my eyes fill up, it's not at all because I am sad. It's because when I talk about a being such as Princess Diana, I resonate very strongly, and always did with her in life, with her energy, her humaneness, her humanness, her compassion, and her vibration from the heart. And what happens is when you resonate with somebody that's coming from there, I mean, I find this at workshops or meditation groups or anything that I run, because I'm coming from the heart, it tends to make people well up with tears, and they're not crying because they're unhappy, they're kind of crying with joy, because it links them back into the love they are, the divinity they are, and the joy they have within. So when I talk about her, if on camera I well up and I seem you'll see it in my eyes, basically, it's not because I'm sad, it's because I, especially as an empath as well as a psychic medium clairvoyant, I can kind of feel where she came from, where she comes from, and what she's about. Princess Diana was one of the most powerful heart awakening catalysts and change to the consciousness of humanity in a positive way that we in the modern world, and particularly in the Western world, have ever seen. But I doubt there were many countries in the world that weren't touched by Diana's presence, heart presence in some ways. Both in her life, but ironically, particularly in her death, there was a profound shift in the consciousness on this planet. And again, bear with me, because already straight away you can see that all these years after her passing, amazing the powerful effect that a woman that still embodies that level of compassion can elicit within us. In the hours prior to her passing, the consciousness on this planet spiked. What do I mean it spiked? It means that measured consciousness in the hours before she passed over, instead of doing this, did this. Almost as if on some level the collective consciousness knew that some big event was coming that was going to have an impact on us in personality, in spirit, and in soul. Because somebody that communicates heart to heart, somebody that comes from that level, when they have connected in that way, not with a few people, but with a lot of people globally, through the media of television, through the media of radio, when they've had that effect and there is a sudden passing, it elicits a wave, a shock wave. Again, what we call soul shock, really, a wave of shock. That's not just felt, that wasn't just felt by the people of Britain. That was felt all over the world, a ripple of it. And there was a knowing at that time, and there is a knowing that has continued all these years after her death, that we know the truth of who she was in that purity and that divinity of spirit. And we know, just as we knew then, the truth of her passing. And now we are just beginning to see, all these years later, what a huge part she has played and still continues to play in consciousness of that ascension template of divine love governed by the heart. There was a powerful interview she once did on television. And one of the defining lines of that interview was, "I will never be queen of this country, but I hope to be the queen of people's hearts." And again, I mean, I'm smiling here, I'm totally overwhelmed with the emotion of this. Not in a sad way, in a very happy way. Because that is something that she achieved, and has achieved well beyond probably any expectation she could ever have had at the time. Because what has become clear to me is that not just in the choices she made in her life and her life experiences, and let me just say that it was her humanness, her very humanness, her vulnerabilities, her actions, sometimes very childlike, her very normality that made her open people up the way she did. That's what enabled her to bridge that gap between the class systems, between royalty and the man on the street. She made you feel, she made everyone feel like you were just like her, like she was just like you, because she was not faking that. She embodied it. That was genuine compassion. And it was by that, showing that vulnerability, showing that openness. Some people would say, oh, you know, she shouldn't have done this, she made these mistakes. Every move she made, especially in the glare of the public eye, every single move she made there was still demonstrating her exceptional normality in a way, which made her extraordinary. It's kind of an extraordinary normality. And in her life, especially as she was getting older, and she was only in her 30s when she passed, but especially as she was getting older, it seemed to me that as she was spiritually evolving, she was becoming even more and more compassionate, opening up even more and more, having more and more of an effect on people, trying to make a difference. And sometimes it's out of pain, out of vulnerability, out of trauma that we as a species really try to make a difference. It's that maybe drives us. We have to be stretched and pulled as souls to do this, all of us without exception. But she expressed this wish to be queen of people's hearts. I don't feel she could ever have known consciously then just how much she has done and continues to do so in that endeavour. She has played and does play a huge part in the consciousness of divine love, heart love, ascension love on this planet, even though she is not physically with us. She embodies and is the embodiment of the same divine qualities that people would track back to the Divine Mother, to Mother Mary, to the Magdalene energy. She is the embodiment of Christ consciousness. And she is all about the heart. It is our very openness and vulnerability and humility that opens up this amazingly powerful portal, the truth of who we are. In order to open in that way, it is the nature of our journey to be pushed and pulled and stretched a little. That's why it's called growth, spiritual growth. The Diana energy is impossible to separate that consciousness, from the consciousness of the Divine Mother, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Jeshua energy, the Jesus Christ energy. It's all that Christ consciousness and upwards energy. She was the living embodiment of that in her life, especially towards the end. She most certainly transitioned over, passed over as such, but she has increased as such. So that I would go as far to say is that she has been a key player in consciousness to that heart awakening template, the ascensionary template, as she could ever have imagined in life. This consciousness is something that we have the opportunity to tap into. And I feel at this point in time that the feminine principles of divine energy really do, in a loving way, need to step forward. And I am not the only person saying this. Not step forward in a way to dominate or control, but step forward in a loving fashion from that place of integrity, compassion, vulnerability, from that place of love, so that there comes into balance, an equal balance on this planet of the masculine energy and the feminine energy standing powerfully alongside, two powerful energies that merge. The merging of the masculine and feminine within, and the merging of the masculine and feminine without. We are at that period of time, and there has been great bloodshed on this planet, great bleeding for the loss at times and the manipulation of that feminine energy in history. Much of it has been rewritten, hidden. In order for us as a species to come fully into balance and to fully integrate our heart energy, there has to be an integration of the masculine and feminine within us, but also outside of us. There has to be this balance. It can start as a spiritual and soul balance, but it must be the embodiment. It has to be the living anchoring, the living anchoring embodiment as such, for everything else to come into balance. And it is all part of the new templating, it's part of the new energies, and we are all being very challenged and pushed at the moment to rebalance all the time, because the energies are immense at the moment, immensely intense, super fast. They're not showing any sign of slowing up. Time will not be slowing up. That intensity will not be slowing up. It's all going to increase until we hit 0 point. I think that's all I need to say today. There are 2 other videos that I'm quite compelled to bring out quite quickly, which I will try to do so in the next week or so. I will never come in front of camera until the energy feels exactly right for me to do so. I wanted to bring this out yesterday, but it would not have been right. Today I was absolutely compelled. I felt very different in my energy and knew today, and this timing was exactly right. But there are two others that I feel compelled to bring out, but this Diana one was something very, very dear to my heart. You can tap into that consciousness, really, that feminine strength, that feminine compassion. You can be very, very loving and very peaceful, but very strong. You can be peacefully very, very powerful. So on that note, whether you are a male watching this and you have females in your life that you know this would apply to, whether you are a male that is aware of the feminine energy within you that needs rebalancing, that has been strongly in you or very, very suppressed, or whether you are a woman watching this in the capacity of a single mum, a wife, a mother, a sister, a lover. That sounds good, rhymes. I hope it's helpful, and I hope it's helpful for you to know that the Diana energy is part of that collective consciousness available, the templating of divine love. The feminine aspect of the whole, the one, the feminine aspect of it. So on that note, stand strong in the love you are. And I will love you and leave you. Until next time. Bye-bye.